So I'm Paige Victor, and I work for The Winch, which is a community center that works with children and young people from cradle to career. So we have an after-school program, and we pick up children from the local area from 2 different schools. We bring them back, we give them tuck, and they just play, and we have reading buddies, homework help, that kind of thing. We also have programs for young people. And then we have a program for 18 to 24-year-olds who aren't in employment or training. And it's mainly an entrepreneurial program, but we're trying to do other things in order to help them get back to work. But our tagline was Cradle to Career, and before the project with Team Up, we really didn't have anything at the 0 to 5 end of the spectrum. So that was our second time. It was the first time for me, but the director of the organization, his wife is a GP, and so she and a friend were part of, I think, the first time Team Up did something. And so they did a program around healthy eating. They did something really creative with the kids, and they built, I think, an alimentary canal, and they did a very creative project. But this was completely different. So this was my first experience with working with Team Up. Cradles to Crawling.
Yeah.
So I was pretty new to The Winch, but my job is really reaching out and making community partnerships. So when they came to us, everybody already knew about Team Up, and we needed to come up with a project, and somebody came up with something about sugar. But I knew that I was the one that was going to have to deal with the volunteers, so I wasn't quite so interested in that. And I have 3 children of my own, and when I was in San Francisco, I did a program as a new mother that was just really great, and I thought it would be really good for The Winch to have something like that. So when I came to present the idea, I actually didn't have anything with me except a table and my idea. And that night, I got all sorts of interest. And so it was really, what I was asking them to do was to really sort of help me start this brainstorm, what it would look like. And interestingly, a lot of the volunteers who ended up signing up either had children themselves or were pregnant. Not all of them, but that was sort of a uniting factor. So the work that they did as part of the project was really sort of helping frame it, and I think what they brought to the whole, it was really my idea. And what I needed, first of all, I got a lot of confidence from them in terms of the fact that many of them were willing to sign right on. What they gave it was structure, because the structure that Team Up has is you need to measure impact, you need to set out aims and objectives, we had a timeline, so we would meet, we discussed that, we then went off and sort of, we were trying, one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to have a goodie bag to give out to the mothers who came. So some people wrote a letter or, to get those kind of donations. We also wanted to make some inroads into local GPs, and a couple of them already had connections there. So really they just provided sort of help in brainstorming on what it would look like, and just support every step of the way, and just keeping on track, making sure it happened. And then the really nice thing was once we actually set it up, part of the thing was that new mothers, we wanted to reach new mothers in vulnerable situations who wouldn't have gone to NCT. So we wanted to reach them, people living in hostels, very young mothers, and once we did, we wanted to create a really warm, welcoming environment. We didn't want it to be too instructive. We wanted to create something, but then once we got going and once we started to earn people's trust, then the people who helped the Team Up volunteers would actually come and just sit very casually. They bring their babies, and people could just ask questions, any sort of thing that was worrying them. One of them was a public health, worked in public health. She came and talked about vaccinations. So the group is really relaxed, but any issues that would come up, I could go back to the women who had helped me start it, and they would come in, and they're still involved in it, which is nice.
Just for my benefit, which I may have missed when you said at the beginning, but could you just explain, so you set up a group for...
So we set up basically a support group for new mothers of babies 0 to 7 months old who lived in the local area, who for whatever reason might be isolated. And I based it off another program that I'd seen in Notting Hill called Rugby Portobello Trust, which has been going on for a long time, and I just thought it was a great program, something the Winch should offer.
Okay, and how many volunteers did you have?
I started out with 8 because what I initially wanted was a steering committee and sort of a brainstorming group. A couple of them just trickled off. I ended up with about 4 really committed, really great volunteers.
Okay. Well, can you just explain a bit about
So
how
the
this
program
works?
is really, like, we call it now the jewel in the crown of the winch. It is a really well-established, great program, and it is just going strong. Partly, when we set up the project, we were sort of thinking that the Team Up volunteers would come in sort of on a weekly basis and volunteer to help me. But once we really got thinking about it, we realized that we needed somebody who really was a professional, because I just had the idea, but I don't have any special skills in dealing with this kind of vulnerable population. So we ended up getting a facilitator who's worked in Camden and with Quorum and worked with Attachment. And so she was part of this group as well. So the group is still going strong. We started in February, and we've had some of the mothers who came the very first day are still coming. Their babies are now about 11 months old, and we're actually trying to extend it to meet the needs of toddlers. We're trying to get different sort of toys, but the idea of the group is still the same, just a really comfortable place where people can come and connect with each other, and that is still going on. And other projects, I think, are going to sprout from it. We're trying to start now a volunteer doula program for some of these women that really have no support at all, and having other mothers go in and just take the baby for an hour or make them a cup of tea or just some sort of support. So it really is spawning other things, the organization.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
I just think that they made the women feel really comfortable. They just came in, they sat down, they sat on the floor. It was a very easy interaction, and we wanted it that way. We didn't want them to feel like the professionals. They would bring their babies. I think pretty much every time one of the volunteers came, they brought their baby. So they were sort of sitting as an equal, but a just slightly more informed equal, made them feel really comfortable. And I know the mothers, we had somebody else come in and ask the group of mothers sort of what they liked about Cradles to Crawling, what they might get there that would be different. And they did mention the fact that they could just ask a GP a question just and get all the time for an answer, and in a really casual setting. So they loved that.
Volunteers.
Well, I found them very inspirational after every single meeting, because all of them, they were in training to be doctors, they were mothers, and they were volunteering their time to work for our organization. They were smart, they were interested, they just helped in any way that I would have wanted them to have helped out, they did. So that's really what I got from working with them. I have learned, and so now I'm starting, I don't know if you'll want this answer.
Yeah, no.
But you can cut this out. The one thing that I did learn is that they are busy and they work at night. They don't really have time to come during the day. And so because this project was something that was very close to my heart, I put in a lot of extra time and I really led the project. And now in starting up this next project, I'm wary about that. And this project is going to be different. And it is going to really be led by the volunteers, and I'm going to make it clear right from the outset that this is something that they need to deliver, that the idea that I've come up with, I've really sort of come up with for them, that it's not, really isn't essential to our organization, but I like the partnership and I want to keep working with them, but that it is going to have to be that they take the lead and end up presenting something back to me, and I'm sort of going to be in a more supportive role, but I'm not going to be leading it in the same way that I did the last time. The new project is about sugar. And the idea is just going and trying to get them to come up with some creative, hands-on type of ways, which I think this is sort of a big topic. I think things happen in school, but we want to try and do it in a little bit of a different way. And it can be up to them whether they want to do something about educating the parents, healthy lunches, that kind of thing, or they want to do actually something with the children. But our meeting is next week, so I'm really putting it out to them. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in the project, and but I am looking to see. I'm more open to what they come up with. I just think the relationship that they had with these mothers, they can just see sort of what the concerns really are. That you might just sitting in a room with them for an hour and a half is far different from a 10-minute appointment. So I think just having this interaction in a really comfortable, relaxed way just worked sort of the same for them as it did for us. Professional, positive, and I would say inspirational.
Thank you very much.
We are looking for the Team Up volunteers to come up with a creative way to introduce just talk about how sugar is not healthy for you, but we want it to be in a creative, hands-on. We are a play program. We are not a school. So when we introduce these kind of subjects, we need it to be in a really hands-on way, a creative, fun way to get some healthy ideas in that meeting.
What made you want to be involved with Team Up? Or was it that it was already running?
It was already running, and I just went along. But after I'd done the project, so I have to say I didn't know too much about the organization or anything. But after working with them for a year, I really did want to be involved. And even though we didn't have a project per se, I wanted to come up with one. Because it was very inspiring to go to the award ceremony at the end, and just the people who came and spoke, and how it talked about how it came out of the spirit of volunteering with the Olympics. And as I think I said, my job at the organization is to just open up the winch to all different organizations. We have corporations, we have school kids, and so this is a really interesting group of volunteers, and if we can get them involved, that's great for us. Why, we didn't do this to win an award, that was just a happy outcome of it. We were so excited. The night of the awards they had, I guess I didn't even know there was a best overall project. So I was hearing the awards, and the other was a lasting impact, and I was thinking, well, if we get an award, that could be the one, because we really do have a lasting impact. And then we didn't get that one. I thought, well, it's still fun to just be part of it. And then we won, and we all were just so happy, and there was a little money involved, and that was even better. So, but it was really just being part of the whole. I think it is a really great organization, and I hope it continues. And I feel like it seemed to really, from what I'd heard from the time before, just from Jess, that some of the kinks were ironed out last year, and it seems like going forward, even more thought has been put into making it successful. So that's why I still want to be part of it.